As you enter the deep, dark cave at the end of your long, perilous journey, your fight to get to this point, you hear the voice you've grown to fear. It is I, Scrimlor, the Battle Wizard. Roll for initiative.
Fuck, I got a 1.
I rolled a 69.
And Scrimlor rolled 420.
Dang it!
You have stepped into my lair of filth. You have come to my junk house.
It's a psychobilly freak out.
That was really, really good.
Yeah, just like
Caleb? That was good.
Thank
Caleb,
you.
Look at me in the eyes when I tell you this. That was good.
Thank
Caleb,
you.
turn
Look at
around,
both
look
of our
away
eyes.
from me. Look
Oh.
away from us. Look away from us.
Keep going. Okay, that's good. Right there, right there.
Caleb, that was good. You can turn back.
Yeah, you can come back. You can come back.
That was good.
I was trying to give you a little sexy over the shoulder look.
Yeah, that was cute. That was
Well, I'm fully torqued, so.
That's good. That's good.
Welcome everybody. What's
Welcome.
what's happening?
Hi, I'm Junk, and this is Cordell House.
Hi, my name is Caleb, and I'm also the artist formerly known as Scrimlor, the Battle Wizard.
I'm not gonna say my name this time.
A
But
mystery.
I'm also here.
A mystery. Caleb, who do we host this show with?
I think we host this show with the only person that it made sense to host this show with.
Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, please. No,
I'm Sammy. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought we were gonna have a fun mystery episode.
No,
That'll be next episode.
and
Okay. When one of us gets murdered on air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the next episode, I'll have Olivia record for me, and then that will be the mystery.
Oh. I'm glad we know that ahead of the time. That's how mystery.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like at the end of the mystery movie, they say the clues are all before you. Like, I'm giving you all the clues.
All of the clues.
I think we should try an auditory escape room.
There is a podcast that is called Escape Room, the podcast.
Oh man,
that is actually very fun auditory escape room. So
I've never had an original idea.
Yeah, you have.
Name 5. Just kidding. We're moving on.
Name 20 right now.
Oh yeah, name all of them.
Yeah, if we're moving on, can I tell you guys about something that popped up on my Twitter feed this morning that there is a new movie coming out called Strays. Have either of you guys heard of or seen anything about this movie?
I'm Googling it right now.
Yes, I'm doing the same thing.
Okay. Strays, like strays, like a stray dog.
I've seen about this. Yes.
It has an absolutely stacked cast, first of all, with Will Ferrell, Isla Fisher, Jamie Foxx, Will Forte, Randall Park. Like,
man, yeah.
Really stacked cast. The premise of this movie is like if Homeward Bound were evil. Because it's about a dog that gets abandoned, but he thinks his owner just accidentally left him behind. And the other dogs in the movie are like, no, he meant to. Like, this is intentional. He does not love you. Like, this owner does not love you. And then in that moment where the dog realizes they're telling the truth, he says, I'm going to find that man and bite his dick off. And the whole point of the movie is like Homeward Bound, but revenge.
Oh my God.
And I'm very excited. I just want to just say to movie studios right now, we can write movies for you because that is the kind of movie that I think the three of us would write so well. just so good at.
I have thought for years that I have a very nice acumen for like dumb ideas. And I think I should be paid millions of dollars for dumb ideas.
I agree with this.
Like, how hard is that? How hard? Give me millions of dollars. I'll give you dumb movie ideas. It's right there.
Also, the tagline for Strays is "Go fetch yourself." That's
good.
So good.
That is good.
Incredible.
I want them to do if we're doing R-rated remakes of like old movies. Was Homeward Bound 90s?
Homeward Bound was like late 80s, early 90s, I believe. It was kind of the end of Michael J. Fox in live action movies and more of his switch to voice. So
I think they should remake Dunstan Checks In, but R-rated.
If I'm remembering correctly, Dunstan Checks In is a movie about a monkey trying
in a hotel.
I thought you were about to say Among Us.
Yeah.
1996, Dunstan Checks In, 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. This kid's in a hotel. This evil dude brought a like chimp in. The chimp gets out, makes friends with the little kid while the evil dude's trying to get him, and the kid's trying to help Dunstan like stay hidden. Oh, I think I also forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure Dunstan was trained by the evil man to steal jewelry from rich people.
So here is my pitch.
Also, real quick, Homeward Bound was 93.
Okay.
93. Okay.
I wasn't far off with late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. Here's my pitch for Dunstan Checks In rated R. It's not about Dunstan checking in. It's a movie that follows the staff of the hotel seeing all of this unfold before their eyes. So you just have like, as soon as it walks in, you have I'm gonna think of an actor that would be perfect for this.
Robert Alexander was one of the people in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the bad guy.
Jason Alexander.
Jason, so sorry, I'm stupid.
Yeah, Jason Alexander.
Faye Dunaway. Oh my god.
Paul Rubens. That's a get in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
That's a fucking get there.
Imagine Michael Che. I feel like is the perfect thing for this, where he looks as this monkey walks into a hotel and he is the manager of the hotel. Like he's like the big guy that we keep following through the whole movie. And he just looks in and you see him lock eyes with the monkey and he just says, Dunstan's not going to be checking in. And then it, boom, cuts to the title card.
And Dunstan checks in.
Checks in again.
Yeah. I think there's like two routes here.
Uh-huh.
Because it's either like, oh man, this is horrible. Like it's a workplace comedy where now we have a chimp we have to deal with. Or it's a horror movie. Dunstan checks in, no one checks out. This ape goes on a killing spree in a very lavish hotel. And like we have to really accentuate early on in the movie the class differentials in order to make it more appealing. Like all of the workers are treated poorly and like have all these strict rules. No one tips them. Their wages are garbage. Then this monkey shows up and it's like basically Robin Hood stuff. And hear me out. Hear me out. The big twist.
Mm-hmm.
The people working in the hotel start killing rich people too. Because the monkey's already on a rampage, they can make it look like the monkey's doing it.
Ooh, and we can get Andy Serkis to play the monkey.
To be Dunstan. Yeah, because that's perfect.
I think that's a perfect idea. I think if there was a horror movie, I think the way to go would be like Cabin in the Woods style, like true horror meets also very good comedy, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the premise is inherently silly, which I assume is what that new Megan movie did. You know, the one with the, like, I'm an AI robot for your best friend, and then I kill people, like, whatever. But like the movies from the trailers at least seemed to know it was a silly thing. Like it seemed to intentionally be playing with how silly the premise is, and we'd do that same thing.
Yeah, from what I've seen in reviews of the movie, if you go in expecting like a horrible horror, you're not going to like Megan. But if you go in expecting a comedy horror, you're going to like it. So,
well, yeah, like horror used to know how to have a lot of fun with itself, like the Leprechaun movies.
Yeah.
yes.
Like horror used to be, or Gremlins, or like even garbage ones like Critters. Like back in the 80s and 90s, people used to just have a good time with their scary things, and now we try to take it too seriously. We need more abjectly silly, scary movies.
I concur.
I agree.
A Krampus. More Krampuses.
Yes, more Krampuses.
I think we would all be very good at writing horror comedy together.
I think we'd actually be good at writing. Like it's like a haha but like I legitimately think we do a good job. Yeah. At least be like middle of the stack compared to a lot of writing teams.
I mean, I still want us to write that mockumentary about the monsters getting big on TikTok. Do you remember this?
Yes. Yeah, like the hype house, but for monsters.
The hype house, but they're monsters. And it's like basically what we do in the shadows, but it's like Bigfoot trying to get famous on TikTok.
And all of his videos end up getting corrupted, so his image is very like fuzzed out.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's like, this isn't real. Like, Bigfoot isn't real. It's like, I'm literally showing you, but it's just a fuzzy picture of himself.
I think there's a Bigfoot premise somewhere out there where like Bigfoot walks straight up into like a news station and speaks eloquent English and is like, "Hey, hi, I'm real. I'm here to talk about it." And everyone thinks it's a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a bit not the same or even like, but I feel like that's a Harry and the Hendersons bit. I don't remember exactly. No, I don't think it's like one of those things where I remember something, but I can't quite place where it was, but it makes sense for it to be Harry and the Hendersons, you know?
Yeah, what if 90s were a fever dream.
The 90s were a fever dream, but
I was only conscious for 2 years of it. But still, Harry and the Hendersons was an 87 film, actually.
Ooh.
Oh.
Still, fever dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I be sad about a movie?
Yeah.
You can always be sad.
I saw the trailer for The Flash.
Yeah.
And fuck Ezra Miller.
I was about to say, are we just did Hollywood just kind of forget that we don't like Ezra Miller?
Well, I don't think Hollywood forgot. I think it was kind of like, we already paid millions and millions of dollars to make this movie, and it has to come out anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just big sad now because, I mean, it looks fun.
Yeah.
And Kara, I love me some Supergirl. She's probably one of my favorite DC characters. And just oops. Ezra ruined everything.
It's also a bummer because like it's gonna succeed.
Yeah.
Like at least by DC superhero movie standards, it'll succeed because like people just like superhero stuff. Like the average like Joe Schmo walking into a movie theater to see a superhero movie probably isn't going to be super aware of even like the comics or even just like what the actors or producers are doing. The average person's just like, oh, fast guy superhero, I'll watch that. Yeah. You know? So like
I'm probably
it's going to do well.
Watch it, but not support it if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
I'll just wait till it comes to HBO because like every DC thing's on the HBO now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm just going to wait till it hits HBO because like it's just, I'll probably watch it because I think from what I tell, they're trying to do Flashpoint.
I think they're doing Flashpoint.
They're for sure doing Flashpoint.
They're 100% doing Flashpoint.
1 million.
You know what?
I guarantee it.
As much as I am not a DC fan overall. Flashpoint is incredible.
It's really cool. And the way they're doing it is also slightly different.
Yeah.
Like,
It's always
now there's
different.
two flashes instead of it just being like Barry is there. And instead of doing Thomas Wayne, it's still Bruce Wayne, but it's Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah,
So
they brought Michael Keaton back.
Yeah, and I like Michael Keaton.
I think it's fascinating that they decided to go the Parent Trap route of just having two Ezra Millers.
Yeah.
This movie was like right before. I feel like it's because they wrote this movie when Ezra Miller was like at his peak of everyone liked him.
Yeah.
I think it is there.
And so,
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, I'm so sorry about that. Sorry, but
You're good,
like right when everyone really liked them, and they were just like, "We're gonna double down on this. We're gonna really give Ezra Miller as much screen time as we can." And then, as soon as everything happened with them, as soon as everything happened with them, they were like, "Oh shit, fuck."
Yeah. Which
What have we done?
I really was a big Ezra Miller fan too before all of it.
Yeah.
Is the big
Same.
bummer for me is like Ezra Miller is a very good actor. I think more and more the DC stuff for them was just like show no emotion. It's like, okay, great. But I enjoyed me some Ezra Miller, and it's a bummer that they went and made it nigh impossible to continue doing so.
Yeah.
Which gets us into that whole timeless art versus artist debate. But again, if they're alive and making money off of it, it's hard to say that you're not supporting them by paying money for the thing they made.
Yeah, that's the thing I've kind of come to with art versus artist is it's kind of, I've gotten to the point where it's like, H.P. Lovecraft was a racist. All of his work is public domain, and that money does not go to it, like his foundation or anything supporting him. So I might buy a Lovecraft book occasionally. I'm not gonna even think about purchasing Hogwarts Legacy because that money directly benefits J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. And I to a degree am a believer in like, listen, art and artist can be separated. However, artists' themes and beliefs and ideals come into their art too. So like, it's not even about like, well, I like this and it's not bad. It's like, well, I mean, if you like critically examine this thing you're enjoying, you start to see the threads of the issues with the artists themselves.
Well, one of the things there are a few things specifically, and like I'm gonna talk about Hogwarts Legacy because I, out of curiosity, the other night Googled stuff about it because I was like, how bad did it get? It is very bad in ways that if you are conscious of her beliefs, you cannot ignore them. Like, there is a trans character that is an NPC, and it was voiced by a trans woman. So that seems like a good thing. They digitally altered her voice to make it lower, to make her sound more like a man. So that's already one bad thing. The other thing is in a codex in the game. So like fully an optional thing that they wrote in and made sure was present. Goblins in the Harry Potter universe, the more evil and greedy they are, the bigger their noses get.
Oh, come on.
Well, not even, this isn't a, to be fair, this is a, the goblins have always been
the goblins have always
stereotype.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, goblins like as a critter have always been
like way before J.K. Rowling. But it's the fact
also,
that
she made it specifically more.
Yes, yeah.
She took goblins, put them in banks where their only thing is money, and then eventually was like, oh yeah.
And so to me,
their noses grow.
This entire game is you stopping a goblin uprising, basically. Getting
the whole game is the whole game is like goblins are fighting for their rights, and you're like, no, you belong in the banks. Like that's all you do.
also funny given that a plot line in multiple of the books is Hermione trying to free the house elves and they go, no, we like being slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it
Yeah.
basically
Come on,
just
Joanne.
fuck J.K. Rowling. Like, it's just bad. It's just really bad. And right now there's apparently there's a streamer who's popular on Twitch that like started streaming the game and got shit for it. And like, you know what? They fucking deserve it. Honestly, like they knew going in that this game was going to be controversial because everybody knew this game was going to be controversial.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I don't think like I saw a TikTok about this, and it was like the opinions on the Hogwarts Legacy from every part of the political spectrum. Like he went through everything. And the final one at the very end was like the far left. And it was the one that made the most sense to me. I guess I'm far left, whatever. But it was basically like playing a video game. The only thing that makes it was longer than this, but it was like the only thing that makes you transphobic is being transphobic. It's not playing a video game. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism. So it doesn't even matter if you buy this game. But it was all this type of stuff. But basically she's still a billionaire. Supporting her sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is definitely nuance to everything. Like I get very frustrated with people having a black and white perspective on any given subject because it is almost never black and white completely. So it's like no ethical consumption under capitalism. True, some people take that to mean I do whatever I want anyway because it can't be ethical, rather than like let me try to find a way to do better and to be more ethical.
Yeah.
Even if there is no ethical consumption. But I think I'm glad that you brought up the point of like the only thing that makes you transphobic is being transphobic.
Yeah.
Like there is I don't like making moral judgments on people because we are all messed up in all of our own wild ways, but like my thought is less if you buy Hogwarts Legacy, you're a bad person, and more if you buy Hogwarts Legacy, I just want to make sure you're aware of what's going on with it, and that you can have time to consider that. Because like we've all bought Harry Potter books, we've all bought Harry Potter movies. Like most of us at some point have spent money furthering this franchise. Just stop and consider, like, okay, what is the impact here? I don't think you're a bad person for buying these movies or enjoying them. Like, it is a complex gray area.
Yeah.
But make sure you've given it enough thought so that you know what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
If you feel guilty playing the game, that says something about you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I might play it at some point and not feel guilty and just be like, whatever the fuck, this is a fun game.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a fun game, to be completely honest.
Yeah. I think right now, where I stand on it is you're not a transphobe for buying the game or playing the game. I think, and I agree with Cordell that like you need to know where this is going, though.
Yeah.
That like if you're just buying this and you don't know, you need to know and you need to learn. I think I'm kind of conflicted because I also like I don't like how the phrase "there is no ethical consumption under capitalism" has been kind of twisted into do what you want, because the basis of that phrase is like if Cordell can only buy eggs because from a really corrupt company because that's what he can afford, well, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. But when it comes to things that are like optional, such as like video games, movies, stuff that like you don't need this to survive, then it becomes a little bit more gray. And so like to me, just for an example, I don't know if this is true. Like I don't know, but like, like my oldest sister loved the Harry Potter books growing up, devoted so much time to them, so went to every movie premiere as it premiered, went to all the book premieres once those became a thing. So for her, I would not be angry with her for buying it, because for her, it is the nostalgia that she might need, because there is like, there is times where like you need just that little bit of serotonin, and the thing that is slightly shitty is gonna be the thing to give it to you.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, I don't blame you. I don't like it, but I'm not angry about it.
Yeah. And it's like everybody is a unique individual with their own thoughts and feelings. Like, I know plenty of queer people who eat Chick-fil-A fairly regularly and are like, yeah, I know, but this is what I enjoy. And like, at least I'm aware of it. You know, like, life is complex. And I think people, like with the ethical consumption under capitalism thing, people take a statement of freedom, and I think people in an unhealthier space allow that to mean I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, the healthier you are, the more you realize freedom is about the ability to make informed and intelligent decisions, and not just the ability to do whatever I want whenever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really freedom. Like, you're just not thinking.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
But listeners, if you want to listen to something about a school and magic that is not giving funding to a transphobe, boy howdy, do we have a story for you.
A story for you.
A story. Oh my gosh. Because this past Sunday, so 2 days ago as we're recording this, we recorded the final episode of season 2 of Nat Wonderful. Oh, it feels
Latin
good.
Club. Yeah.
It was really good.
It felt
really
so
fun.
fucking good. It felt so good. I loved that campaign so much, but it felt so good to finish it on such a strong note.
Felt so good to finish.
It felt so good to finish.
Busting makes me feel good.
And we busted that guy's ass.
Bustin'.
Yeah, there's not to be a little bit spoilery, but like, Nat Wonderful has developed apparently a small tradition of having like genuinely tough campaign course and like having a hard time getting through everything, then just curb stomping the final boss.
It's
You've done it twice in a row now.
And at this point, I don't care about spoiling Galactic Special because it's been out for a while. So I'll talk about it. That boss was designed to be incredibly hard. Like, just, and you guys just pub stomped the fuck out of him.
Well, monks are broken.
Monks are broken, yeah. And Sammy played an incredible monk.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I stole like the power source for the big bad fight, and then like that weakened it severely, but like it just so good and gratifying. Like, I know as the DM, it is like, man, I worked so hard, this was supposed to be difficult, but like as a player, just demolishing them feels so nice.
So good. In that moment where you guys like fully took the main boss I had spent so much time and just like tore open his ass cheeks and shoved your whole fist up inside of him and made him talk like a Muppet. Like, yeah, I was both disappointed and yet also like so glad, because I was like sitting there thinking like, if it was like anywhere earlier in the campaign, I think it would have been a total party kill, because it was just like,
that's fair. Yeah.
like I did kind of have to put you guys through the ringer so your characters would get to the level, but who?
I think what's fun about role-playing games is how often you accidentally learn things about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was, because we were, and you know what, fine, spoiler zone, I don't care. If you've listened to the show, great. If you haven't listened to it, then stop and come back to this after you've listened to the finale, or if you don't care, keep listening, I don't care. When we got to the very end, and Miranda was like, okay, what's next for your characters? And like all three of you had pretty like nice like little bows on there, and I was like, interesting. And then I realized mine was just like, I don't know, his job never feels like he's done, and he's just kind of aimlessly searching for the next thing. And that was the same ending I gave my character in Galactic Special.
Yeah.
So what am I saying to myself here?
Well, I think like because I had that same thought when you said like, yeah, my character just kind of like wanders around like trying to find the next thing. It was like, that's the same ending Jin had.
Yeah. And I mean, it worked for the character. Like, I genuinely think that's what Reggie's story would be. Like, he spent his whole life searching. I don't think you can just stop searching.
Well, I think it's because you write your characters with an unachievable goal.
Yeah.
And so,
interesting.
And so the fact that it is unachievable, but it is still a goal, means your characters are still going to be searching for that. And it's not that it's like impossible to write a way to get the goal within the campaign. I think it's just as a person that has now written a campaign for recording, you want to try to give everybody satisfying endings. And sometimes in doing that, someone has to have one that is a little bit unsatisfying. And I think in Galactic Special, we had more than one that was a little bit unsatisfying because, like, yet again, spoiler alert, Sammy's character, Wind, I made that ending semi-satisfying, but it was a satisfying ending that was a setup for a future campaign.
Yeah.
Versus,
And I think volume of players affects it too. Going from 6 to 4, like, as much as I miss playing with them, it makes it a lot easier to manage stories and action and just everything. Like, time to play. Like, 4 is a really good group size. But no, I don't even think like Jin or Reggie's ends were unsatisfying. I think I'm a little bit too strongly of a believer that like the story keeps going on to want to leave them with like, and now they're good. Plus, I do give them a little bit esoteric, impossible goals.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember mine for Norman's, it was still very open. It was.
That's true.
Norman, don't go back to class because magic real, so learn magic. And where's that gonna take him?
Yeah.
That's fair. I think the difference that I felt, at least, and obviously, you know, like, oh, like, I'm the special duckling, but like, for Norman's, it was like, I have my path, and it is learning more about this. For Reggie, it felt like, my path is gone. But like, I guess Reggie was like the kind of a monster hunter's life is never done. Like, you never retire from hunting evil if that's all you do.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what it was. Cause in like, he's the werewolf. So he's hunting his own evil. Like, he is trying to destroy the evil within himself. He learns to like master that and become one with it and like reach that internal peace.
Yeah.
But now he knows that there are far greater evils. And he doesn't know how many there are. Like, I feel like for Norman, it was like, magic's real. I'm going to keep studying this. This is cool. I think for Reggie, it was like, I've learned that magic is even more real than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And people are doing very bad things with it. Yeah. So I think like for me, it was like Norman's like going the scholarly route. Reggie's going the like conspiracy route, you know, like vigilante conspiracy theorist. Like, he's going to find them and try to stop them.
Well, I think that was like, I think what's also interesting is that like our 3 characters specifically, it was like to going against, like finding ways to go against a system versus I think William, my character, like his ending was just like give in to the system.
Yeah.
But fix the system by giving into it.
Which I thought was like super appropriate. You know, I never at any point in the story did I think he'd actually go into politics.
Yeah.
And then whenever he does, I was like, that's actually beautiful. Caleb's cool.
I think I didn't know what the ending was going to be until there was a moment in the final episode where William has to confront his father again. And in that moment, I was like, I actually think it would be better if in this confrontation, William was not completely lying to his dad. And there was a kernel of truth to it. That was the inspiration for that, was just.
Yeah. I also wonder if part of it is that like my play style is that I don't plan ahead, like ever.
Okay.
I don't like to establish much backstory, and I don't like to plan ahead very much. So like for Reggie, for example, I was like, werewolf, don't know much about him. I like to discover my characters as I play. But then that means that I get to the end and it's like my general arc was that he wanted to end his werewolf stuff. And then get to the end and he's reached peace, and now I'm like, I'm as lost as he is. Miranda's like, what comes next for her? And I was like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, William's whole arc from the get-go was to be better than his father or die trying. And oh fuck, my dad doesn't listen to this podcast, but oh god, that feels too real. And
we learn a lot about ourselves.
Yeah, we do. Well, and it's funny you said that. Weird kind of brief aside about the like we learn about ourselves. So a long time ago, I used to work in a youth ministry, which is absolutely wild for most people that only know me at this point in my life. But yeah, I used to work in a youth ministry, and I actually delivered like a whole talk to a lot of people within that youth ministry about D&D as a ministry tool. And like part of the reason was that like there are kids that I worked with that did not want to open up, that did not want to talk about anything. So when I gave them, when they wanted to join the campaign, I would say, cool, come back next week, write a 3-page backstory. That is all you have to do. And then I'll help you build your character and you're good. And without fail, every one of them made their backstory reflect their real life.
Yep.
So I instantly was like, okay, you know, I'll make up like, but like, okay, he has issues with his brother at home and wishes that he was separated from his family. Okay, so this is what we're going on. And it worked without fail every time. But it also made me realize how much of ministry is just manipulation. So that's a whole other can of worms.
Well, my favorite can of worms regarding the subject of manipulation is that literally all interaction is manipulation.
Yes,
and it is inescapable
absolutely.
and unavoidable. And assuming manipulation is bad is a non-productive way to proceed.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you on that.
Fair.
Yeah. Not worth. I don't want to dive into that right now, but that is a subject I genuinely care about. Is like people are like, that sounds manipulative. I'm like, well, everything's manipulative.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk nuance, pal.
Yeah, to a degree, everything is manipulative.
Yeah. But like, I think it's partially because you know you write what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially for role playing, for like an inexperienced role player, and even clearly for experienced role players, like the things you design will always reflect a little bit of what you think or feel, and a little bit of yourself. And those early characters tend to be a fair bit of yourself too. So like, that's why so many people use like role playing therapy as like, well, let's play a campaign and use that as a way to work through our problems.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking because I have a book somewhere. I have a book of like books about writing, which is just a full shelf of stuff. But there was a quote from one of those books that I really liked, which is, fiction is inherently a lie. We cannot avoid that. But every lie has to have a kernel of truth for it to be believable and have an ability to connect to. So when you are writing fiction, yes, you write what you know. But if you want a character to stand out and be the actual character that people relate to, you will inevitably put a little bit of yourself into that character.
Yeah.
And so I think that like you're exactly right, that like we are all experienced role players at this point. We will always put a little bit of ourselves into the character.
It's unavoidable. You cannot create a thing without bringing your experiences in life and beliefs into creation. Like, that is where we get our inspiration and knowledge in the first place.
Yeah.
True.
So it's like, I think what's neat is like, because like you said, the most honest characters are the ones that are like, well, the ones that have genuine truth in their core.
Yeah.
And I think it's so neat to see how different writers and different players like twist truth, because like you have like an honest belief or an honest thought, but then you twist it for like the life that character or person has lived.
Yeah.
And I think that's super neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a question that I don't know if I've ever asked Sammy before, but it is something that I've now thinking about. When you wrote Wind/Kestro
As trans.
because that was in the backstory from
So-
the get-go.
Well, here's the true story behind why Kestro is trans. I wanted to play a female. Everybody else was playing women. And I was like, I'll be different. And then we wrote it into the
Oh.
backstory because of that. We're like, oh, no, they're trans. But that also, I think, it wasn't because I was dealing with it at the time, I guess, or like
Uh-huh.
I had inklings, but I think it was more Kestro normalized the idea more
Mm.
and kind of helped
That's
me come to more terms
fascinating.
with being trans.
That is just fascinating to me. Because, like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't
Yeah.
think I came out as trans until like maybe mid-season of...
We were deep in there.
We were deep.
Yeah. We were pretty deep because I remember we also had the conversation of like, how do you want to do this when it comes to recording? And we
Like
just
Critical
started.
Role.
Yeah. We literally, like, you literally would just start saying Sammy. And
It's like, I'm not gonna
don't
change
address
It's
it.
okay.
Yeah. And we were just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is yeah. I think that like one of the things that I realized that we're extremely lucky to have is the group we're playing with. Like from the start to now, we have always had just like such a solid group of people that were just like actual friends first was kind of the main thing.
Yeah.
And like the four of you were in my wedding. Like, I don't think I can like speak higher than just like, yeah, the group that I record and release a podcast with and view all of them as creative partners were also all in my wedding.
Yeah, no matter how many times you
Yeah.
tried to kick me out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all snuck in.
Wasn't leaving.
The only wedding of the Net Wonderful group that I wasn't a part of or didn't go to was Drew's, because that was before
Yes.
we even existed.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
But
was.
I've been to everybody else's, which is really cool to say.
Yeah, because Drew's wedding was like in the middle of the campaign before the podcast.
The
Yeah.
drive to Drew's wedding was when Caleb and I reconnected as friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like the first time we talked, like just had legit conversation in a long time.
Like 3
Talked
years.
3 years. Talked almost the whole way there, almost the whole way back. Like it just reignited it, and it was on those drives that Caleb was telling me about D&D, and I completely misunderstood it a great deal, and then figured out what it was and
Yeah.
joined.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were saying, I remember at one point we were talking about spellcasters. Like, yeah, most spellcasters have cantrips, and that's going to be the majority of spells to cast. And you're like, oh, there are cantrips in Magic the Gathering. You know, it's just you play a card, you draw a card, like as part of the resolution.
Yeah.
And I was like, that kind of makes it like, you know, you're not wasting resources.
Yeah.
Is the thing, but.
I mean, yeah.
And that was before Caleb was really into Magic the Gathering. So like we both changed each other irrevocably on that drive.
Yeah.
And we scared each other so bad.
Oh my God, we did.
Sammy, have we ever told you about this?
Probably. I feel like you have, but my brain is not connecting.
So we I listen to the show called Spooked. I think it's a podcast. It's delightful. It comes out like every October. Can't remember who produces it, but it's really good. It might be Parcast, but I don't think it's Parcast.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
Luminary is
Luminary,
the producer.
So Luminary produces Spooked. It is a show where it's hosted by this guy, but like it takes the actual audio of real people going through their real supernatural paranormal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just them telling the stories they've lived in their own way with some like audio design here and there, making it like spookier.
Of course.
It's just, sometimes it is just bone chilling, the things that these people talk about and have experienced. And I listen to it every year when it comes out. I love the show. We're on the drive, and it was right after I discovered it. So I was like, Caleb, let's listen to this whenever the conversation dies down. It's middle of the night. It's completely dark out. We're on an isolated stretch of road. We're listening to this, and we listen to a very scary one. Like a really, really unnerving one.
Because we were driving from Memphis to Detroit, which is a 13-hour drive after the time change.
Yeah. So, like, it's very dark. We're alone on this stretch of road. There's not a lot of light. And we are both suddenly absolutely convinced we are not alone in the car. And so we like every few minutes would just turn on all the lights. Caleb would look around, be like, we're clear, and I'd turn them off again. And that was how we proceeded for a good hour of just like so scared. And,
yeah, it was wild.
To this day, because like at work, there's like a main parking lot that's a little bit further from where I clock in. And then there's a dark, dingy parking lot that's right next to where I clock in. So I go to that one, but I leave it like 10 o'clock at night a lot of times. So I walk out to my car alone and I'm just like pretending to not be scared. And it's like super dark and I'm pretending I'm okay. And I get in the car, lock the doors, turn on all the lights, look around, breathe, turn them off, and then get going.
I understand that feel though. I've done that too many times of just like being in my garage and then being like,
yeah,
okay, we're good.
Yeah. It's like for a guy that loves getting scared so much, I don't love being scared so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am a guy that actively avoids being scared the majority of the time. So that was especially bad when he was like, listen to this horror podcast. And that was at a time where I was like kind of into horror and I was like, you know, watching a lot more. And I was like, yeah, I can handle it. Yeah, that would be totally fine. And then it was just like, there was like it was like this Hispanic woman talking about like a ghost that has followed her since her childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, fuck this. Fuck, I'm out. Bye. Fuck this. Like, this ain't happening.
Because that was when Caleb was still flirting with the idea of maybe liking horror, which is why later on when I was like, Caleb, let's watch scary things. And Caleb was like, no. I was like, what? But scary.
But the podcast.
But like scary things. And Caleb's like, no, I don't like horror. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you used to. You've changed.
Yeah. And it's less that the sentence is not, I don't like horror. I always say I'm very particular about horror because like body horror does not bother me. I'll read Junji Ito, does not faze me. it's like specifically ghost shit that I just no.
Interesting.
Ghost, curses, demons.
That is what fascinates me about horror people, because I have this conversation a lot with a lot of different people who don't like horror or don't like specific horror, and their reasoning is always so funny. Because sometimes they're like, "Oh, I can do like serial killers and whatnot. Slashers doesn't bother me. Ghosts, demons, nuh-uh, that's too real, too scary." And then some people go, "Oh, I can do ghost demons, that's not real. But slashers, serial killers, that's too scary, can't do it, that's real." And it is so funny to hear, like, because the reasoning is always the same of, that's too real.
Yeah.
But it's always for a different thing they can't handle, and I love it.
I wonder what the Venn diagram of Christians, people that don't like ghosts and demons in horror movies. Like, I wonder how close that is. People
It's
that were
probably
raised
not
to
exactly a
believe-
circle, but
Yeah,
pretty close.
but just like when you're raised to believe that demons exist and that spirits exist, it feels way more real, I would believe.
I think it's like a 3-circle Venn diagram of Christians, just kind of non-Christian but occult people who believe in all of it but don't believe in Christianity. And which is funny because, like, I don't believe in Christianity, but I like the demons and spirits, and a lot of those names and ideas are straight out of it. It's fascinating to me how culture and like names and things work. But like those 2 circles, and then people who are scared of demons and spirits in movies.
Yes, yeah. But yes, I
Yeah.
want to see that on r/data is beautiful.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which it's funny to me because, like, as a like practicing Christian, it doesn't scare me at all because, like, one of the core tenets of it is that, like, God's gonna protect you and not gonna let like demons get at you. So like,
You know
Why-
the classic saying.
yeah, that's what they say.
God is bigger
Than
than
the
the boogeyman.
He's bigger than Godzilla or the monsters on TV. Oh, God is bigger than the boogeyman, and he's watching out for you and me.
I forgot the last bit, but yeah.
So it's like, that's what's kind of funny to me about it is like your whole belief is that God is bigger and badder than all the big bad things out there. So like, why are you scared? That's my thought process. It's like, no, it doesn't bother me because like if it's there, I've got God and anime on my side. Like I don't get bothered by much of it anyway. I just like feeling spooked in general. And I'm a skeptic too, I'd suppose. Like went and stayed at the Crescent Hotel with Emily last week. It was delightful. We went on a haunted tour, got massages. It was great. Never saw a
You
ghost.
didn't come and see me?
What?
I live like super close to.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
The one up in Northwest Arkansas?
Yeah. In Eureka Springs?
That's like 45 minutes, 30 minutes from me.
So this is a failure of Cordell's understanding of geography.
Okay, that's fine.
And not a lack of thought.
Yeah.
I did not know what it was near it at all.
You're totally fine. But
like,
we should we say now, just so we can put the goal that we want to record a podcast episode in that hotel?
I just want to do some kind of live scary thing. I once got Caleb to agree to do a like live stream in the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum if we got enough like subscribers or listens.
Yeah.
And I think we should go big or go home, because like Crescent Hotel has some spooks, has some ghosts, but none of them are like, there's one really mean evil dude, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I think we should go to a place.
I learned about this place in 3rd grade because my teacher was obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I think we should go to a place that's full of really bad, angry, mean things.
I'm down.
And we should really antagonize them.
Oh, God. Fuck
I might not want to antagonize them, but I would definitely do a podcast in an old place.
Well,
I would agree to doing it in the Crescent Hotel
Boo.
I would agree to doing it at Tala.
Yeah.
I would even there are some close to me that are supposedly like spooky haunted places that you can rent. There's a lot of ghost stories in Tuscaloosa and it freaks me the fuck out.
Boo yeah. I love it.
But I would be fine with doing it, but I'm just going to let you guys know that here's how that recording would go. Okay, fuck, what was that? Fuck. I fucking hate both of you for making me do this. Fucking hate you guys.
Yeah.
But we would have to talk. The funny thing we would talk about like
anything.
Pokemon.
We'd just be we'd just be
something
having
just
a normal
normal.
episode in a scary place, and we'd have to do a video one just for the chance.
For sure.
So like, I live in a weird zone when it comes to the supernatural because it's always fascinated me so much, but I don't directly believe in most of it. Like, I am very, very skeptical. I'm the kind of guy, like, I believe there's too many stories, too much evidence to say that nothing's out there. But until I see it directly, why would I believe that it's out there? So, like, I love ghost tours and, like, but on the same, like, other half of the coin is, like, I do believe in demons. I don't know how much I believe that they, like, interact with the world or how, like, literal I believe they are. You know, like, however, I'm not about to pick up a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Or I'm not about, like when I was, because at the Crescent Hotel, there's a time when it was a cancer curable hospital with, like, air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
It was not, the guy was evil and just moneying. It was just all money. And so we were down in the place where his ghost supposedly spends a lot of time, which is weird because he also didn't die there. So I think it'd be like an energy imprint or whatever. But like part of me wanted to flip off his picture because like, hey, you were an evil man. But I also didn't want to get like punched by a ghost.
Here is,
you know, so like, like no matter how skeptical I am, I'm not about to like outright do something that could mess me up.
Here's my pitch.
I understand that. Yeah.
We make a video of the three of us going on a ghost tour.
Okay.
And just kind of see what, because there are ghost tours. Like, name a city, there's a ghost tour there for sure. Like, I know New Orleans very well because I've been there like dozens of times at this point. But I know those ghosts and I know the ghost tour. So that one doesn't scare me because I'm like,
I know that
this
ghost. That was my best friend.
Yeah. Like, I know that ghost. She's only famous because she was racist.
Yeah.
Like, that's like that.
Yeah.
Like, that is the majority of New Orleans ghosts. It's like, did they do really bad stuff in their life? Yeah. Most of it was racism.
Yeah.
Which is still horrible. But like, there's only like one or two ghosts in New Orleans that are like known for like truly horrific things. And even then, you cannot go into the areas where they did the stuff because it is like known. Like there's one lady, Delphine, I think was her name. Lorene, I don't know, something like that.
I've heard of her.
So like she
was like the witch queen or whatever.
Well, yeah, there is the Witch Queen. I'm thinking of somebody else. The Witch Queen of New Orleans, there's even a speculation that she's still alive. Like, that is kind of the one.
Yeah.
But there's another one, and I'm spacing on her name, but I'm sure one of our listeners is going to think of it. But she was known for, she had a lot of slaves, and she would torture them in the most grotesque and horrible ways you can think of.
I know who you're talking about.
And
dang it.
The person who owns her house is Nicolas Cage. Owns her house. And like there are tours, but you cannot go in the house, partially because it's a private residence, but also partially because they sealed the attic off because that's where she did all the stuff. And so apparently you have her ghost and the ghost of every single slave she ever tortured.
Holy shit.
The LaLaurie Mansion.
LaLaurie, yes.
Oh,
That's what it is.
Lalaurie.
Lalaurie. You got to remember, and I've said this to several people. I don't know if I've ever said it on the podcast. If you ever think, what would a Cajun pronounce this like? Pretend like it's the laziest way you can pronounce it, and you've got it.
So
Not
you throw grammar out the window, say it easy.
Yeah. Because, and it's not that Cajun people are lazy, it's that we have too much other shit to do. You will get what we're saying eventually.
I love
And
that.
and speaking of things that we're all gonna get eventually, it's the album "Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em."
If you don't
which
have them
has
already.
If you don't have them already, and you know what? If it's got a banger of a track on it that we get to use as our opening and closing theme song called "Psycho Billy Freakout." Thank you to the
Thank
Reverend
you,
Horton
Reverend.
Heat.
Thank
Reverend,
you,
Thank you,
you've
Reverend
changed my
Horton
life,
Heat.
Reverend Horton Heat.
Whenever we need an exorcism, we just need to call the Reverend Horton Heat.
Yeah, we do.
We have a Twitter. It's Junkhouse Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might at some point just start switching over and promoting TikTok if we start making TikToks there, because we should. That'll be fun. What if we did that? But yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's really definitely haunted. Our email. If you email us, you will get a ghost. Guaranteed. It might be a sneaky, subtle ghost, but it's there, I promise. For every email, you get a complimentary ghost that will haunt you for the rest of your life.
This person definitely got a ghost.
For real. 100%. All of them.
This person has sent us so many emails, and we love them so much. It's the friend, the friend of the show, the one, the only Fielding Shipman. We're
The very haunted.
The very haunted Fielding Shipman sent us this. Junkhouse. Did you know the world's longest fence stretches over 3,000 miles to keep dingoes out? Thank you for subscribing to Did You Know? No cancellations anymore. So now we're stuck with Did You Know, which is probably it's the best of all fates, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Which, did you know, now you're stuck with ghosts.
Yeah, did you know now? Now you've got a ghost. That should be an episode as Fielding comes back on and the three
Fielding
of us
gets
voice
ghosts.
different ghosts.
Yeah, the ghosts that haunt Fielding.
We'll just do a Christmas episode, and it'll just be the Christmas.
I love
the
this.
Fielding Carol.
I love this already.
I've told you all why I think the Muppets Christmas Carol is superior to any other version, right?
Because
More
it is.
ghosts.
More ghosts. It's got one extra Bob
got
Marley
one.
ghost.
Marley and Marley.
It is the best.
It is also
'cause
just
Muppets
the
are
best
goated.
in principle. Muppets are good.
Michael Caine. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you, our dear listeners, would like to get that complimentary ghost, there is a 5% chance you'll get some Ghostbusters Under the Pants action if that's what you're into. Email us at junkhousemailbox@gmail.com.
Is that what Fielding is going for?
I think Fielding's trying for the Under the Pants action from the ghost.
From the Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, you know.
Ghost bustin' makes me feel good.
I still think it's wild that we have, as a culture, decided that is like a fairly young child's movie. Like starting around 8 is when I think it's acceptable to watch Ghostbusters. But there is fully a blowjob ghost.
Yeah, there's a blowjob ghost. Here's my big thing about it. Is like, we have this weird idea culturally that old means okay. And that old means safe for children and appropriate. So like like my parents, or just older people in general, generations above us when we were growing up would be like, that rap music's bad. Or like, that's satanic, like with the Super Bowl. And it's always like, oh man, more satanic panic, yay. But then they'll jam out to Highway to Hell without a second thought.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they'll let their kids listen to Highway to Hell, but then they'll be like, no, you can't listen to that rap. It's like, it's old. It's not like good. Like my mother.
Your mother.
I love your mom, by the way.
I love my mom so much. Putting that out there, she's wonderful, wonderful woman. Growing up, my mother would express her disapproval for so many things we enjoyed because of like inappropriate humor here and there. Like my brother and I watching Community. Mom walks in, here's one slightly off-color joke, goes, I don't like that show. I don't like that you guys watch that show. And would do it with like movies, anything. If she wasn't directly enjoying it and it was inappropriate, I don't like that show. And then my mother one day watches Zombieland and adores it. Not a
Same with
single
my
complaint.
dad.
Not a single complaint about the vulgarity or the content at all. Was so pumped, saw Zombieland 2 in theaters, maybe multiple times. Still, if she hears us watching Community, I don't like that show. But the big kicker, my mom was like, you gotta watch Dirty Dancing. It's such a good movie. She's like, I love that movie. It's so nice. And I watch it.
Nobody
And
puts baby
most of
icona.
it centers around a botched abortion and some really lascivious movement and gyration. And it's like,
Mother?
mother? You think this is such a good, wonderful, wholesome, what? And so it baffles me, the processes that people have of like, this is inappropriate, but all this stuff, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No, I think it's the
it's
idea that
hilarious.
like what your parents and grandparents saw as rebellion became the norm. Like
Yeah,
Elvis. like,
Yeah.
Like Elvis went from like, I recently watched the Elvis movie because it was okay. It didn't need to be 3 hours. But like
Fair.
it was literally
Almost
sitting
no
there and
movies do.
it was like showing him getting arrested and showing him because he shook his hips too much and all this stuff. And now Elvis is just a household name, so much so that like you cannot avoid listening to his music at some point in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, for real.
And like the Beatles after him.
Mm-hmm. And that's just the cycle of
Yeah.
life. Like, basically, once you hit about our age, you're kind of set in what you enjoy and what you think is the norm for life. And everyone younger than you that lives a different way just clearly is out of touch and doesn't get it. That's why every year you hear a new kids these days don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just because I am now set in my norm, which means no one else gets it. I clearly have the best way of life.
Clearly, I am smarter and better.
Yes, clearly.
But I guess as we say every week,
Rebel
Rebel.
against the
rebel
system.
against
Rage
society.
against the
Rebel.
machine.
Rage against every machine. Throw your computer out a window. Shit on a laptop and close it.
Become
Put
a
your
clown.
dick in a microwave.
Become a clown. Become a clown.
Become a
Become a
clown.
clown.
Become a
Become a
clown.
Become a clown.
Become
Become a clown.
It's a psychobilly freakout!